Miami, 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 Miami. It feels like Miami.
Welcome to happy 2024, people. First MHB Postgame show of the year. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas. With me today, supposed to be Lou. Lou said maybe. It was supposed to be Coach Lou and the intern Pablo, but it's just Pablo. Can't find
Hey
Lou.
guys,
How you doing?
so frustrated tonight.
You know, it happens. Pablo, you sound a little sick. So
Yeah, I don't know.
shout out to Pablo for toughing it through. But listen, we have a post-game show to talk about the Heat. I don't even know what to call it. They lose to the Clippers 104 to 121. And listen, Miami showed a lot of fight in that first half. We'll talk about the whole game. Kind of go through it. Pablo, let's start with the zone, because the way that this game went was Miami started off shooting really hot. You got activity from Lowry. You got activity from Tyler. Bam's playing really well. You have all these guys that are moving, shooting, grooving. Kevin Love comes in. They're playing great. The zone really took the Clippers out of their offense early. They didn't really know what to do. They were turning the ball over. They were just getting, kind of contested threes in weird times in the shot clock. And the game progressed, and I think the Clippers, I don't think I know, they solved it pretty quickly by pretty much the second quarter. They were working the ball in and then kind of working it out. They were doing like an in-out, getting to the corners. Norman Powell hit threes on every corner and was absolutely murdering them. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. That's, to me, the tipping point of the game. And that's when Miami just really had no more options to stop the Clippers.
Yeah, and it's like how you said, the Clippers figured out how to beat the zone, and that's thanks to Tyronn Lue. He's been known as one of the best in-game adjusters as a coach for a while now. And once he figured out that zone, it was GG's for the Heat, because they refused to go to something different. They stuck to the zone, and they got what was I gonna say? My bad, G. They got completely bamboozled. This is what I was trying to say.
They got
The
bamboozled.
Heat is, instead of switching to a man to force them to drive a little bit, they kept letting them shoot corner threes, and they kept hitting them corner threes.
Chat saying to put you in jail. If I had a jail graphic for two screens, I 100% would put you in jail. I gotta pre-prepare one. That's on me, chat, for not being ready. Yeah, absolutely right about Lou. I mean, you could kind of tell that, it was kind of funny because I see Miami go zone, and the Clippers were just not ready for it early, and I was just like, it's weird for a team not to, as well coached as the Clippers, not be ready for really the Eric Spoelstra special. But they kind of did what they did. They kind of worked the ball from the inside out to the shooters, and obviously the Clippers shot the ball really well. The next problem that presented it, because Miami went to man, and just Harden started frying them. Like, everybody was, even Bam got a little bit. Everybody was just getting fucking cooked by Harden. I felt bad for Jaime. It was a real welcome to the NBA moment. That man showed him the works, bro. Harden was on tour, and he took Jaime with him. Gave him all the little tricks to rip through the stop and go, the change of acceleration. Man, unfortunately, that man still has it.
Yeah.
And Pablo, Miami's man just couldn't. It wasn't even Paul George, although Paul George used, this is true, he used Jamal Cain as a toothpick a couple times.
It's just, when it came to guarding Harden, they would throw two at him, and that would just leave someone wide open. And Harden's too smart of a player to not to just pass it up, And then Paul George, he did it in that third quarter, especially. He was just torching us from three, and that's also thanks to the zone. And when we went to man, Kane was getting bullied around. Kawhi was getting to whatever spot he wanted. Same thing with Harden. Even Norman Powell was taking everyone off the dribble, and it just goes back to our very bad point of attack defense.
Especially on a night like so. They're missing Jimmy, they're missing Caleb, they're missing Highsmith. Those are your three most important perimeter defenders, and I think the Clippers are arguably the most important team to have those guys against. I mean, even guys like Norm Powell, he's just like cooking Haim. He's just cooking people,
Yeah,
bro. He's just going to the. I mean, and they just didn't have defensive answers, and that's with Miami getting a ton of free throws because typically you could say like, oh, well, their offense is just so anemic that they're just not getting, they're not getting the ball in the hoop and they can't set their defense. This was not a case of that. They were able to
no.
kind of set their defense and it just didn't matter. They just got fried, bro. They got
The Clippers. The Clippers, I think, Eric Reed said it in the broadcast. They were shooting 60% through like the first 40 minutes of the game. And how do you stop? Like there's games like you can't stop it. They're in a groove, But you're completely right. Bam got to the free throw line like almost every time in that third quarter.
And that's the second game in a row that because Bam had a ton in the Utah game too. He's been really aggressive on this road trip.
And it's just not leading to any like there's no point of scoring so many points if you can't get stops on the other end. And tonight it was just the defense that gave up. Because scoring wise, outside of Herro and maybe Lowry, we weren't that bad scoring wise. It's just we couldn't stop the Clippers from scoring.
Bam had the most James Harden ass stat line ever. He was 6 for 17 and he scored 21 points, 15 rebounds.
How many free throws he had? I think he had like over 12, right?
He had 15, I believe. Yes, he had 13 free throws. Yeah, he was 9 for 13, 69 nice percent. He hasn't shot the ball that well from the free throw line. He struggled in the Utah game as well. Hopefully, it wasn't that bad today. I mean, 70% is like it's like the bare minimum. It's a bare minimum. I think you want like a high volume free throw shooter. I mean, Dwayne, I believe Dwayne kind of shot 70% of his career. Regardless, Miami kind of found some stuff with Bam in the mid post, kind of what I've always wanted out of him, kind of that Amari Stoudemire one dribble away kind of thing. I was worried, and I don't really think it happened, Pablo. The one thing I was worried, because Bam was just cooking Paul George. He was cooking everybody. The guy I was worried about them putting on him was Kawhi. And I do think that, like, ever in a playoff series, if Miami ever makes the finals against the Clippers, that could be an option because Kawhi Bam has an okay dribble. It's not that good. It's good for a center, and it's good for what he needs it to do. But I think if you put a guy like Kawhi on him, that could absolutely nuke that. He had a couple turnovers, when Kawhi came to help.
Strips.
Yeah, just things like that. I'm not here to criticize Bam. I loved the game tonight. I mean, he was aggressive, and I like that they found that. Clippers did not really
have an answer for him.
Solve it. I mean, they did a lot of preventative stuff. Miami was running a lot of sets, right? Mm-hmm. They'd kind of run the screener, and then they'd run two guys off, and then the Clippers would either switch that or they had to they had to hedge for the guy coming off the double screen or whatever. And that worked for a lot of the game. It got Love deep positions. It got Bam positions. It got Jaime positions, like isolated or whatever. The Clippers, I thought, was another good adjustment. They were just very preventative. They weren't sending two-edge shooters. They were kind of having a guy drop to make sure that Bam is not going by himself where they have to kind of scramble and help. So that was kind of another aspect of it, Pablo. But we'll close out kind of the thoughts on Bam. I mean, he played a good game, and I just think the Clippers just out-talented and out-solutioned him.
It's just outside of his shooting percentage, you can't really ask for more from Bam. And I feel like he wasn't used to all the double teams he was getting after the third quarter, that adjustment, because in that third quarter, he was just taking it up on whoever. The fourth quarter, he couldn't get to his spots the way he wanted to. So it would leave shooters open, and we just weren't hitting. So, like, we're getting open shots out of the Bam double teams, but we couldn't buy a open bucket. So I think that's where in that fourth quarter, the game just got out of hand.
Bam, the other thing about Bam was like he's not used to seeing doubles the way the Clippers were throwing them at him. And it's just interesting because he's never been that kind of scorer, especially on a night when Jimmy's not here. So I think positive that Bam was able to do that against such a good defense. The negatives is that I think you kind of see how capped that is offensively because they just ran out of gas. And really, like, Bam went into the revolving door of DHO at a certain point when he couldn't get to his spot on the floor to isolate. It was like,
Mhm.
okay, well, and I don't disagree with this by Spo. I mean, Spo sat Kyle for pretty much the whole fourth. And without him and with Tyler giving you nothing, their pick and roll game was just atrocious. Right.
Terrible.
So in reality, like they just had no way to get into spots on the floor. And it was just kind of Bam doing that. Bam kind of doing that. And I think the Clippers, whenever they switch stuff, it was absolutely, and I think that's why you saw in the second half Duncan didn't play so good. They were kind of defending screens better. They were switching some off ball stuff and whatever. So kind of rough night for him. Tyler, bro, absolute. We just, no show in the second half. I mean, he and Kyle, I'll group them together after having such a good first quarter. Just absolute no shows in the second half. I mean, I don't even know. I don't think Kyle took a field goal in the second half.
I don't think he did anything. I think he just ran cardio
Just
out there.
ran around, bro. And Tyler did not score in the second half.
No, he did not.
So
He got
both the
rebounds.
Kyle
But
did have 2 back-to-back turnovers on trying to force the same entry pass on Kevin Love twice, and I just don't really get why forcing an entry love to Kevin Love is that important when you just
yeah,
turn the ball over. But regardless, Tyler, is the more upsetting part because he's the guy that you're just like, okay, well, like you had a rough game in Utah, you bouncing back. The answer was no.
nope. In the first half, he looked good too. Like 4 for 6 from three in the first half. He had 12 points. And then coming into the second half, you would think he would keep the hot shooting going. We need that. We need someone outside of Bam to score. And I just feel like he got scared or something. Not scared, but like he just didn't feel comfortable getting to his spots. He was taking really bad forced like fadeaway mid ranges. And like someone in chat said, he's not trying to create contact at the drive. He'd rather throw up a random floater instead of trying to drive in and get to the free throw line. And I feel like that was just like ball game from there. I just feel like once Hero started playing like shit, like yeah, Bam could like get to the free throw line, but Heroes is supposed to be our main scorer when Jimmy's out, and he just didn't show up.
It's just unfortunate because you kind of need him to be that guy in these situations, and he's having such a good scoring year that you're just like, okay, like, and now here's a really good defense with a lot of length, and I do think that's like a part of him. Like he struggles with length, right? Like anytime PG or Kawhi switches onto him, that's like not a good matchup for him.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, like Zubac got in foul trouble. Bam did a great job of that. And
Yep.
that's like when, and I thought they did this well in the first half. You make sure that Tice cannot survive on the court. And I think I tweeted when Zubac picked up his 4th foul, I tweeted that they're plus 20, the Clippers, with Zubac on the floor. And they were like minus 12 or something with Daniel Tice on the floor. And I believe Tice finished as a minus 8, so he improved a little bit. That number's just not big enough, bro. In 16 minutes, I mean, Thomas Bryant in 3 minutes and 22 seconds was a minus 6. He was a minus 10 at one point in like 2.5 minutes. Then there was like a 3 and then a steal or something. So, like, you get the guy that you need to be on the floor, and you don't target him enough. I thought that you could go at him more and drop. Get your shooters involved. That's a good spot for Tyler to get involved.
Mm-hmm.
Just didn't have that, and that's the thing. Like they don't have, like, he's not good at finding his matchup. That's like a Jimmy thing, right? And
Yeah,
listen, even guys like Tatum, I don't think are that good at like finding your matchup. It's not like a thing that everyone's good at. But man, today was a night that you really hoped that he could.
you would think that with the both big men on the Clippers being in foul trouble, that at least one of Tyler Hero would, or like let's say Lowry would try to get the switch or either give a dump off to Bam or drive in and try to force the foul because damn, 10 years. That's crazy.
But for context, that Pete haven't beaten Kawhi in 10 years.
That's crazy.
But no,
But
Pablo, to your point, like they ran like early offense, like in pistol, and the Clippers were switching some of that stuff. that's how Kevin got those mismatches with Kyle. So like they were trying to do that, but it was like, well, try other shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
don't run the same play back to back. That didn't work. So I don't know, man. Frustrating altogether. You
But
know,
don't you think like if Hero's on the floor, he should, if he's off rhythm, get to the free throw line. That's what
he
most.
can't get to the
That's
free throw line. I mean, that's like not his game. Like that's like the problem with him, right? Like that's like the thing that we always ask. It's like can't and again tonight, like where is that supposed to come from? Like you got to beat your guy off the dribble,
yeah.
and he's not doing that. I mean, fucking bro, Duncan did it to Paul George. And that was really funny.
Yeah, but Duncan did it to Giannis. He's doing it to like, but Hero can't do it to like, not even to Russell Westbrook. He was able to like. There was one play where Westbrook just bodied him, and then I don't know, man. I just when Hero
And I
plays
see
like this,
chat saying like Kyle's coasting, you know, and I don't think it's coasting. I just think that
no,
he's 38 and the Clippers are long and scary defensively, and they were showing bodies every time he got into the paint, and it was just kind of hard, you know, like. And
yeah,
that's the thing that I think the Clippers do really effectively is like those guys that stunt at the nail on drives, they're fucking huge, bro. It's like Paul. This is like kind of like they're like the anti-Warriors where like even though the Warriors like a couple years ago were like so good on defense, they had a lot of guys that you can kind of target, right?
yeah,
And the Clippers don't have a ton of those guys, right? Like Westbrook's one of those guys, and I don't think Miami went at him nearly enough. Tyler couldn't get by Westbrook or Harden. That was
and
concerning.
Harden
That
is
was concerning, bro. So
somewhat
I
known as a
just
bad defender.
like a negative first step. Like again, and that's where Jimmy helps you too, because like Jimmy's a guy that'll target Westbrook, that'll target Harden, you know, get those guys in space, you know, like and also like provide, you know, like Caleb too. Like I think
Yeah,
as much as I like Jamal Cain, and I thought Jamal Cain gave great minutes, just not good enough. Like that's the kind of thing. It's like Jamal Cain, for who he is, played well. You
yeah,
cannot ask like a guy like Jamal Cain to do. Well, he finished with Jamal Cain finished with
9
9
points.
points, you know,
Yeah, like 3
4
offensive
for 12
rebounds.
from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Didn't have a turnover, which is a miracle. Um,
The thing
and like
about
it's like, what do you expect? But like, if that guy's Caleb, okay, well, Caleb,
yeah,
you can expect like, man, you know, can you give us a 2 for 5 from 3, and then like kind of like some stuff in the in between there? Like there were times every time Jamal Cain like went inside the arc, like a lot of times bad stuff happened.
yeah, he's not a
And he
player who
tried.
can.
I appreciate the effort, but it wasn't not like his night for that.
He's he's not an off the dribble threat whatsoever. Kane, that's the one thing that is different between him and Caleb. Caleb can drive in on you. He can put the ball on the floor.
Good
But I
finisher
feel
as well.
Kane cannot. He's athletic. He can fly, but 3 and D wise, that's his niche. That's his role. You know, he's not there to come off the dribble and score like Caleb is. So it's just for what Kane can do, he did pretty good. But
Somebody says Jamal Cain is super athletic, but he missed a wide open layup.
he did. He did. I mean, 4 for 12, bro. Like you have Jamal Cain shooting 12 shots. You know, like
Bro, they were out talented tonight. Like, and that
yeah,
became apparent in the third quarter. Charles Barkley always says it's like, you know, there comes a point in a game where you just know the other team's better than you.
yeah,
And that was like one of those moments where you're just like, yep, well, this is they're just better. And it kind of, I think when the game got to 16, and it was like, yeah, this is just done. And like
it's
the Miami had like a mini run. I think they pushed it to like 11 or something. And then it's like we all knew that's like it's gonna go back to 15 or 20 or whatever, and it did. And then the Clippers blew it open. So, I mean, the Clippers are a great team. I think that they're a possible like championship kind of team. And again, Miami, it's another night. And again, on a night where you don't have your 3 most important wing defenders, in reality, 2 starters, because it's either Caleb or Highsmith that's starting.
hmm
You can't beat another contender. They don't have like a win against a contender yet, so it's a little frustrating. I see
typical
somebody,
Miami team.
Phoenix 7862 asks, Giancarlo, you think they should try more inverted stuff with Lowry and Kyle with Bam to get the mismatch rather than running DHOs? The issue with that, and that's like something that Frankie always like wants them to do more of. My thing is like I don't really trust Bam's handle at the 3-point line. So it's like you can run like a pin down off like a curl or something, but then like I don't know, it's just easier to get like Bam isolated. Like they can run. I think their better bet to get those mismatches is to like run a handoff. And if a team is like gonna switch that, then you post Bam up, and then you just run another action to post them up. I would like them to sprinkle some of that in, but in reality, I think the most bang for your buck off the inverted stuff is with Jimmy, because Jimmy's gonna get the switch he wants, the matchup he wants. I also don't mind when they do some of that inverted stuff in horns, when a wing is the one that's handling and you have like Kyle and Tyler both screening in horns. I like that look for them a lot. Or I actually really like when like Kevin Love screens on one side and then one of the other guys, Kyle or Tyler or Duncan screen on the other side. I love that look in horns a lot because you get a lot of the big popping and the small rolling. And I think it's interesting. Jimmy will sometimes screen in that kind of set as well. So kind of those kinds of things I'm a fan of. I get why they don't do it with Bam more, but it's something that I think they should look to explore a little bit just to get like some variety. Pablo,
You
what do you
would
think?
think they would try to get Bam more involved, but let's think in like Miami Heat. What will Bam try to do?
What
He'll
would Bam
probably
do? Fade away or look for a handoff?
exactly. Like you can run that with Bam, but like, do you really think Bam is gonna take advantage of his size, of his finishing ability?
I
To
think that's good in transition. I think when he's bringing the ball up in transition and you run early offense where like Bam's in like semi transition and you run like, okay, you like Duncan screens as Bam's coming up and then Duncan flares out into the corner. Maybe like Love or somebody else like screens the screener off the flare. That's something I like because then Bam's already has a little bit of a head of steam, but I don't like from zero to like 3-point line to restricted area for Bam. I don't know if I trust that at volume. Think you could
yeah,
sprinkle it in, but it's the at volume for me that I worry about. I think that's a great question though, and it's something that like Frankie has been like clamoring for, and I think
yeah,
Siobhan as well. I don't want to put words in her mouth. I believe so. But yeah, so just another one in the books. Um, another one in the books. I agree, Phoenix. I do think they should try a little bit more. They used to
yeah,
do it with Duncan, but a lot of times what they'll do is they'll have like Duncan screen and like in the paint, right? So he'll set like a low screen and like
yeah.
kind of like an inverted what Tony Parker and Tim Duncan used to do, where Duncan would set that like low screen and Tony Parker would kind of come off and go through the middle. They'll kind of like flip that and have Duncan do that, and then Duncan will sprint to a corner. Another thing that Miami does kind of inverted, and they do it against the Bucks a lot, is that Bam will go from one side of the court to the other, and Duncan will screen in the middle for Bam to kind of come off. So his man is trailing when Bam catches the ball. So like if Kyle's on the left wing or whoever's the point guard or whoever's on the left on the left wing, and Bam's on the right, Bam will kind of come from right to left, and Duncan will come through the middle of this and then kind of pick off Bam's guy, and then Duncan will sprint to the corner. That way you get motion. The entry pass is away from that action, and Bam's man is trailing. And then when Bam starts to make his move, Duncan's man Bam could see that help come like in front of him, right? So that's like they do some of that stuff. That I like because it gets Bam in like his best position. And if a team wants to switch that, because if like Giannis or like whoever is guarding Bam is like late on that, and then they're like just switch, then you get a mismatch. And if not, and also Duncan's like sprinting, so you don't want him to be loose either. So if somebody else has to pick up Duncan because they're worried, because Kyle can make a cross-court pass like that, or if Bam gets the ball, that's an easy pass to Bam as well. So somebody has to come in, and then that's one pass away from a guy on the wing, whether that be Caleb, whether that be Tyler, whether that be whoever. So it has to be like more just interesting stuff. So, but yeah, guys, so that's that's a tough loss. Miami's lost after winning 4 in a row. Miami's lost 2 straight. So losing kind of some of the ground they made up in the Eastern Conference. I believe that they're 5th or 6th now. Yeah, they're 5th.
Yeah.
New
You
York
gotta
was
hope.
New York is a game back. Indiana's half a game back. Indiana's now won 4 straight.
I don't know how they beat the Bucks today. I mean, Dame 3 for 16, not much better than Hero, but
I mean, New York picked up a big win against
huge
Minnesota.
win.
Yeah,
Huge
I mean,
win.
Miami doesn't have a win like that, and it's like you look at their best wins, and it's like the Lakers at home, the Warriors
That's
on
about
the
it.
road. The Warriors on
Maybe
the road. The Warriors aren't that good. You have Orlando on the road. Orlando's like a kind of good team, but it's like, yeah. So
I don't know.
So Indiana at home, it's like whatever, and then
But then
they lose
they
without
back to back. Yeah.
they lose without
The Heat are confusing right now.
Their Heat are
we don't
confusing.
we don't
Everybody
have
says chat saying Orlando fake. Orlando is a fluke. Do you mean the win is a fluke or Orlando's a fluke? Orlando's good, man. Orlando's been coming. They're on the come up. I don't think they're ready yet, but I think
No.
they're a good team. I think that's a good win in Orlando.
I don't think the victory was a fluke just because we played great defense on them and we forced them to shoot. Oh no, they're saying Orlando's not good.
Orlando's good. They're young.
Yeah, they're decent.
They're good.
Well, I just hope we get a win against the Lakers now. Maybe if we win this game, who knows? I mean, maybe that can be our statement win. But without Jimmy, without Caleb,
the Lakers on the road isn't a statement win. Are the Lakers below 500?
I think they're 17-17 right now.
Yeah, man.
I don't know, man. It's just we have to beat someone like.
Do you know the only reason Pablo knows that the Lakers are 17-17?
Why?
Because the team behind them are the Warriors, who are 15.
I know. I saw a post today.
Yeah.
But the Heat just tonight. First half was promising. Second half,
not so much. But
yeah.
that's gonna do it for us. Listen, we had a crowd at 1 a.m. It's 1:23 on January 2nd, 2024. I have work tomorrow, so I think we're gonna call it for the night. I love you guys. Repping my squad, top of the motherfucking table.
They won today, right?
They won today. Liverpool beat Newcastle. What should have been 6-1. I want Darwin Nunez in Guantanamo Bay.
Didn't Salah miss a pen?
Yeah, but he's not very good at pens.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's we're about to lose our best for the uninitiated. I'm a Liverpool football club supporter, and our best player, Mohamed Salah, is about to go to play the African Cup of Nations. And for some reason, well, not for some reason, because it was too hot, they're now playing it in the winter in the middle of the English football season, and we're about to lose our best player. Imagine losing Dwayne Wade. By the way, Mohamed Salah has an argument to be like the best fucking player in the Prem this year, and we're about to lose our best player for like a month to go play his little fucking international cup, and we're also losing Wataru Endo. I'm about to call him Endo for an Asia Cup. So we're pretty fucked. But regardless, top of the table, we're back, baby.
We're so back.
Yeah, we're so back. City's I feel like every time I talk about Liverpool on this podcast, it's like the happiness. It's like the little. It's like I'm chasing the Heat's misery with the little Liverpool happiness. Yeah, but it's sometimes the opposite because Liverpool will have like some weird fucking results, like they tie against United at home in Anfield, and it's like, oh, this sucks. But then the Heat went 4 straight, and I'm like, it's at least I have the Heat. So they alternate like when they're good and when they're bad. So it kind of it chases me a little bit.
Oh man.
Yeah, Kyle comes in chat and asks, "Missed the game? Did we win?" Depends on what you define as winning, because we're all here another day healthy. That's a win, I think. It's a win, I think. Phoenix asks, "Do you have a conflict of interest with soccer and basketball?" Because Kyle's wearing a Messi jersey. I hate Messi. It's my conflict of interest. Fucking hate that guy. He also asked, how would you recommend someone get into soccer looking for a new sport? Listen, great you ask. Liverpool is top of the table. You start watching right now. You get a Peacock subscription, and you fucking watch us. You watch us hoop, baby. Let's join it. We will never walk alone. Liverpool is like literally the Miami Heat of the EPL. It's the Heat of the Prem. I'm telling you, like Jurgen Klopp is the Eric Spoelstra of the Prem. Just fucking hop in.
So
It's
wait, who's the Tyler hero of Liverpool?
Probably Darwin Nunez, who I want.
Darwizzy, baby.
Darwizzy, who I want in Guantanamo. So yeah, we have a new fan. You'll never walk alone. I will send you all the club history notes. And with that, my friends, I will leave you tomorrow. Tiff and Bon are hosting a pod tomorrow, I think. I have the day off. Hopefully I test negative for COVID. I've been testing negative for a week. Hopefully I get my final negative COVID test so I can hopefully see my loved ones before they leave for the winter. And Tiff and Bon will get you covered tomorrow. And yeah, love you guys. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. Off to big things, lads.
Let's go.